Piece process, basically what we're gonna try to go over is how to make the process easier and using the best of what we have. So basically, a lot of the guys that are here though, some of you guys know what's going on. I'm not saying the other guys don't know what's going on, but there's a process to this. There's a process to how we're trying to execute our piece. And right now we are gonna be talking probably a little bit more on the graffiti side, but that doesn't mean from anybody's artistic piece here to some of the artistic pieces back there, that there's still a process that you're gonna wanna take and try to develop. You could follow my process, his process, but there's still a basic process to what we're doing. A lot of times I do see, you gotta have an ideal, you gotta have a sketch, or you don't wanna just go to the wall blank, because if you go to the wall blank, it might not come out or achieve exactly what you're trying to achieve, You're gonna probably have to do your homework, like I wrote in the thing. Bring your black book. For me, I'm always drawing. I got books. I love letters, so I'm always looking at letters. I'm always doing those things. So those are a major part of getting to the point of where you want to be as far as executing your sketch or ideal. Next thing would be is like, what do you need? So you're gonna use this color, that color, and you guys tend to go to these crates and you guys go to grab cans. And as of right now, like I just found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 already used cans. Use these cans, utilize them. Don't bypass them and say, I need a new one. You don't need a new one. Use this can. And I'll get to like different reasons why you could use some of those cans. But just grabbing what you need, using using the scrap cans that are in there, because they're gonna help you with the process. Let's see oh yeah, bring your black book. So you have your sketch. Today I think I'm all over the place, man. That's how it goes. So I get it, we're artists. Let's go to the next one. Let me see where I'm at. She said something, what you're gonna do. You already maximize the paint. Okay, so once you get all your paint and I say use your scrap cans because you could sketch on here. See, this is our blank canvas today. Use your scrap cans to sketch out. You wanna sketch out and say let's go with it right now. I'm gonna use a green for a fill-in. And this is on the graffiti portion of it, I guess. But, I'm gonna use a green. I'm gonna do my outline and I'm gonna use that process. And this will help you when you guys do your guys' process. Now, when you get to the wall, this wall here is just like, there's no lines on here. So sometimes you can go like this, right? You do that and because I'm gonna do letters. I'm gonna obviously, let me grab a chair though, because I wanna be a little bit higher. Not that tall, but I'm tall. Again, this is my scrap can, but this is a scrap green because I'm gonna fill in green. So I wanna use that can. When we do these type of things though, and we put these marks down on the wall to try to do what we're gonna do, this could hurt you in the end because maybe you're not gonna exactly use all of this background. So if you're gonna do that, just keep mind of what it is that you're gonna do. For me, like if I do my name, right? And I write also. I'm not gonna write it that big, but right, we're all doing it. And this is all just quick, just to show you guys what it is that we're trying to do. Ultimately, we're just trying to use what we have, the best of our ability. So, I don't know. See, I'm going above and below this. This is like seasoned stuff though. I understand what I'm doing. For you guys that don't understand, either staying inside of this line, maybe a little bit above and below. See, you can even add extra lines up here to say, I'm gonna go between here and here, my smaller letters, like if we're doing cursive, which I can show you guys in a second. So, but you know, we're just continuing this process. See, and I'm maintaining the same. But I use these two lines to help guide. So as I'm doing that, and who cares if you go over it? Who cares if you go over the other line? Not a big deal. Why? Because we're gonna fill in, we're gonna add 3D. Now, there is some processes that the past, I believe the last episode and the episode before that, one of our colleagues here showed us some good tips. He showed us what these cans are for, what you want to use, how you're going to use them. Like if I'm going to go street bombing, I might not want these low pressure cans. I can go ahead and use a bunch of Rustos if you want. But we're not going to talk about all that. We're just saying what you're doing. So, but he talked about the tips, what tips you want to use, what you want to achieve. I typically kind of go between the creams and the bananas or the universals. I think that's what they call them. Man, the tips change the names all the time. And I'm like, that did the same thing as the other one. But, so I'm going to get to it. Now, when we're doing this, we're filling in now. Let's fill it in, you know, back and forth. I tend to let go of the tip sometimes as I'm going back and forth. You know, whatever you decide to use, but you want to utilize the paint as best you can. We don't want to just be wasting it, spraying it back here, hoping that it works out. No, you know, you need to get in there enough. I like it solid. I want it solid as hell. Like, again, if we're going to do some graffiti stuff, you might be able to what we call a ghosty. And it might just look like something like, you know, just real quick. Who cares? We're on the street killing. We're mobbing. And now that's typically what you don't want when we're out here painting these schools and we're trying to give them the best piece that we can give them. You know, whatever you got drawn up in your black book, whatever you had in your ideal, whatever it is. So you want to make the best of it and you do want to get it. But it also doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect if I happen to go over that line. Of course, you want to learn that, you want to control that, and you want to basically make it a solid fill. So, and I'm just kind of go over it fast just to let you guys know. You can always come back, brush it in, whatever. I'll get the top up there. But let's just say I decide to use a white can now. Oh, I think I might have skipped a part. When you're grabbing your cans and you're grabbing the stuff that you want, you know, get the colors that are going to be, get the colors that are going to work for your piece. Get the colors that are going to help you move along. I guess it's something like that. Sorry, never had a teacher class. But there was some rules that were brought out, like using these lighter colors first, using these things first, and that's true. It is true. I didn't exactly do that here if I decide to go with the white, because what I'm trying to show you is the fill-in, outlines, and 3D. Oh, another thing I didn't do. Hold on. Sorry. So when I outline it with this green, before I even started the fill, I missed the process. Sorry. We'll add our 3D. Let's add our 3D with that sketch color. In this case, I'll go, which way? Pick a way. To the right? Okay. All right. So he said to the right, you kind of said down to the right. So typically what you want to do is keep it in that fashion. All the way through. Any point, any line that can get that way, let's add it that way. These curved lines sometimes throw you guys off, but just run with it, you know, and then just, so it's close enough, right? And this is just, so now I added this. Well, and this line here has to, I guess, correspond, be parallel to that. So it's going to be straight. If it doesn't look that way, then the 3D is not going to look right. You're going to have 3D going that way, 3D coming this way. You know, I see a lot of people down there, they'll have 3D this way, and over here they have it that way. It doesn't make sense. It has to make sense because the 3D is like, this is straight on, and then 3D or shadow, really, so to speak. But that's what we're trying to do. So if we're going to the right, you know, they're always gonna be parallel. This one's going this way. Oh, there we go. So all of that's gonna work out. And then since this is up here, oh, let's fill this in all the way. And this white, if you're gonna use white, since we buffed this out, it'll probably show up really good. Typically it does, it's good paint, but sometimes you gotta have a base coat. Sometimes you gotta have a different color for that white to actually come out, depending on the texture of what you're painting. But we did the outline, we did the 3D, which I did backwards, so I'm sorry. But, and then we did the fill. So now we're gonna do, sorry, I didn't do the outline yet. This is gonna be the outline. My outline of my letters is gonna be the same color as my 3D, typically. Now the rules have changed and the rules have been letting go, but as I was taught and what I was raised to do it would start to now be this way, you know? See, and then with this white, I'm actually cleaning up any edge, any imperfection that I made during this outline or during that fill-in process. So and again, just it's like a coloring book too. You don't want to be going in all different directions, up, down, left, right. Like I'm typically going that way. Okay, so see, look, going a different way. But I have the chair with me too. Like when we're painting and we're like, imagine me down here trying to paint up there. Like it's just that much harder. So if you need to grab a ladder, Graffiti Park's got 1,000 ladders. If you're out doing something on the street, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that you're spray painting up like that and you can't catch that crisp line that you wanna catch. So, you know, we wanna do that. Now I did it this way to show you guys a process that, you know, we're using, but sometimes we're not understanding that there's something better that we could be doing. All right, because now all this is one side. So now you're like, and this is what I see a lot of the guys doing, including myself, because I don't always remember. We come back, we step back, and we take a look, and we look at it, and we go, oh, I want to add purple to that. So what happens is, now you have to be even sharper with what you're doing. You have to maybe seasoned veterans, it might become a little bit easier for them and being able to do it. But that's not so much the process that you want to take. You want to be thinking more steps ahead. Because now, when I come over here and I do that first, all right. Come back to some of this green. Fill this in a little bit better. Just give you guys. The reason I did that, you know, and I'll just use this O. You guys know how to play chess? You know how to play chess? All right. So if you're playing chess, you're obviously thinking 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. This little process, little trick is something to do with that. Because now that I put that purple there, because magically when I came over here and I was like, oh man, I want to add purple, I had to fight against the white and make sure that it was right. So here, I'll just check. Now, when we do that, I could outline this. Look at that. Purple's already there. Huh. It's not that I don't want it perfect. I'm just showing you guys the example. So and these are like processes, and that's what my question was. Do you guys play chess? Understanding that when we're painting. I think it was said before, you want to work from the back to the front. So if you guys were paying attention, and it's never too late to learn. You know what? Last time we were here, I learned something. So it's always a good thing to learn. You could always learn from your friends. So, you know, I mean, if I want, because, and also like when we're doing our 3D, you want to maintain the same width. Anywhere you got your 3D to its fullest point. You don't want to have this 10 feet out here and then over here is only like this much, but it's still got the full angle there, if that makes sense. So, I mean, there's that, right? Now I didn't have to come back and put that purple in as to what I had to do here. I mean, I could still do the same with this purple, how I blasted it off that way. When I was growing up, it was called, this is called the third line, a burner line. I've heard them call it the blast line. I've heard them call all types of things. Whatever you decide to call it, it's a third line. I'm just messing. So another thing when we're doing this, because we're trying to utilize fill-ins, 3Ds, outlines. So there's more tricks that you can do here. Like if you wanted to crack this or something. So yeah, obviously, because the crack is going to probably be your outline color. Outline color is white. We're going to crack it. We're going to, so to speak, you know, and then you can come in and this will kind of be like a cut back, so to speak. And then you can even do like some funky stuff like here, we'll just color that all in white. These are the things that we're trying to get you guys to think about. Come back, I got the green. I mean, you still want to utilize the best amount of paint that you can, but if you mess up, it's not the end of the world. This might be a different green, but we put it back in there. So if you need to do that, you can. Then you're going back and forth again, where now we clean it back up with the white one last time. Could be that way if you want. So another thing is, if you're gonna do two-tone, let's say we're gonna do two-tone. First thing we do, last time, see this line here? I didn't erase it. Why didn't I erase it? Because the 3D and everything that I chose went this way, my letter structure, whatever. Now what am I gonna do with this? Now it's a problem. Now you gotta have the background color. Say you're not even gonna use the wall, or say you're gonna use the background of the wall. So in this case, I could use a black can and clean that up. But just knowing, okay, I'm gonna do this, where I'm gonna be at. And a lot of times there's different styles. These guys use the doodads. I think that's what it's called. They put all these marks on the wall and they take a picture and then they put the image over it with your iPad. If you guys don't have an iPad, mine's down there. If you guys don't have an iPad, I would suggest getting an iPad. It's probably gonna change your life between 1800s to 2022 for sure. In this case, where was I at? So another typical trick that I tend to use sometimes, depending on what it is you can, I think I probably should have been going forward on these slides. I'm sorry if I didn't. But you can use tape. I think there's a picture. Oh, the slide that it's, oh, let me go to the next one. Did that turn off? Oh, there we go. So I just recently did this. I sketched this all out, but I had it at an angle and I did use tape. I put tape up there. Because it was so long, I put the tape there. But after I put the tape there, I came through and I put a spray paint line. So it was a hard line there. So I knew where it was at, but I was stretching 20 feet, you know? And then on top of that, there was trees all right here. So I couldn't really just step back and look at it. So I used the tape first and I put it on an angle that I wanted. And once I found that, you know, I spray painted it. But the thing behind that was I knew what I was going to achieve. I knew where I was heading to. And I knew ultimately that the whole background was going to be painted. So I was able to go ahead and put those spray paint lines. I was able to do that because I knew ultimately I was going to erase that. Not everybody's always coming to the wall to achieve that process, or they're going to fill this whole wall up. They just have an image that they want to put on the wall, but they want to have some guidance to themselves. So I think the doodad does help a lot when you do that because you're knowing where you're going to go. Me personally, I find landmarks. I find this. I find things in the wall that I use for my preference. But, so, I mean, we can, what did I get on? It was 2 tones, right? But again, I'm not going to put the line here because I want to show you guys something. And it's going to ultimately lead to a cheat code. Just one of thousands that you could probably find amongst yourselves. Following this process when you guys go home and doing it or whatnot, you might go, oh, something clicks. I could have done this. I could have done that. Just to simplify your process and the piece process. So this one, hold on. And we'll go with what we need because I'm going to use 2 tones. So this is where 2 tones, using that lighter color first, will help with with the darker color going on top of it. So I guess I'm just going to do it again, same thing, but outline, right? I found where I'm going to work at. This is what I'm going to do. This time I'll try to stay inside the lines for you guys. I know it's kind of small, but another thing, even at this point, so like, all right, I'm starting my A. Obviously, I'm working on my A. Sometimes people try to draw and they try to draw everything that needs to be on there. Like they're drawing this from the gate. You might not have had to do that. You might have been able to just get the base part of the letter. And then I add it. Now it's there. Now it looks pretty even. I get, for the most part, you know? So, okay, I have that. All right, cool. I'm gonna do my L. And again, I'm just gonna go with that simple version of it, little block version of it. Then I can, if I wanna add that, could add that. Oh, since this is over here, I might wanna make my L come off to that point as well, and so forth, right? So my graffiti name isn't that, okay? But my initials are Angelo whatnot. That's somewhat where my name came derived from. And then, so going back to the 2 fill process, whether I want it on the top or I want it on the bottom, let's just say, well, Depends. What makes it easier? Can I spray down easier and get a fade? Seems easier than spraying up. So I guess I'll fill this bottom in. Now, and this is just a rule of thumb. Doesn't mean if you break that rule, you're done. Your career's done. You can't ever paint again, you know, because we're always trying to break the boundaries. So. Now, you don't necessarily want some hard line there either, because I know I'm going to put two colors. So, of course, I might, oh, messed up, but I'm going to try to a little bit blend on there. Then we'll come with our darker color. You're going to have to go over this part of the outline, though. As I'm coming down, I am kind of pulling down with it, just so I can kind of give it some of that blend. And whatnot. All right. I mean, it's, you know, it's a little patchy, it's whatever. But okay, let's take this off. I got a crisp line there. I'm not so crisp here. But remember, I said, oh shit, I want to put this line here first. Oh, I want to do that. Okay, so we can still do that. However, what I'm going to use now is, okay, because I am using the whole wall. I am using all of these colors. So I'm pretty sure this is a flat black, matte black. So I can use this to cut back into it. Well, it might dry up the same. But what I wanted to show you is basically we could steal the wall. We could rob from the wall. Like these things that are happening here. Let's go with this blue. Okay. Say I wanted outlined with the blue, right? Or this is purple, but this time, so all I'm trying to show you guys is that there's tricks that you're going to learn over the time. When you guys are painting on this wall, there's more than one. This isn't the exact, like I said, this isn't the exact process. This process will definitely help you out in what it is that you're doing. So, right? Which way do we want 3D? We're going to do down this time, just because it makes it simpler. So, right? Boom. I robbed the 3D. Right? Did I even add a 3D there? I didn't even add the 3D there. I did add the 3D, but I didn't have to go through and paint the 3D because I stole the 3D. I utilized the wall. I utilized whatever it was I was going to do. So there's probably a lot of things that you can do where even the homie did last time. He did the flower, you know what I mean? He went that way and he just went around. We're using those colors. We're using the paint and we're using the wall to create these images. And you might have went and grabbed 1,000 cans over there and you didn't even need to do all that. Could have been done in one step. Like, oh, I wanted black 3D. Why'd I go grab a black can, 10 black cans, and I filled this all in black over this black? I'm not saying that that's what everybody's doing, but it's just I was gonna say something, but have I cussed a lot? I haven't cussed, huh? All right, good. Yeah, I was trying to refrain. I was trying to refrain from cussing, or just what I told Daniel earlier. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Is there any questions to any part of that? If there is or there isn't, I think.
Actually, I have a question. So, say the canvas is not all black. Obviously, when you first start off, say the gray brick wall.
Okay.
And you see how it's in front of the A. Obviously, you had those guidelines that you marked.
Correct.
On the top.
Correct.
How would you get rid of? I wouldn't say get rid of. How would you utilize?
Okay, so I mean a few different ways. One, don't do that. No, I just. So the wall's gray in the back. So that's what we're trying to get, the piecing process. And yeah, we're saying the word piece, but you know, the mural, any process that you're gonna use. Like this guy's stuff here, you know, he might have wanted something there, so he taped it off. That's where you're gonna try to get your iPad. That's where you're gonna start to try to understand the wall. What are you gonna paint? Am I gonna paint in this whole area, or am I only gonna paint there? So maybe you can minimize this. I'll just do a little bit, just enough. You might even do dash lines. You might not even have to use the whole thing across just to get your point across. So whatever trick is gonna work for you. I worked construction a long time. The guy I worked next to, he told me, I'm gonna teach you how to do it. You're gonna find your own way. So I'm gonna teach you how to do it, and you're gonna find your own way that works for you. So the process of that will ultimately become yours. And when you have another young Jedi and you'll teach him, you'll tell him probably the same exact thing. So, you know, if you're not gonna go that big, don't just go put some random line across the wall and go, all right, let's start there. You know what I mean? And then when you're using the tape might help you out. Say you did do this. Now you're gonna have to go and go, all right, here's my purple. Now I'm gonna have to take this purple out further than I wanted to. I only wanted to blast. I only wanted to do this. You know what I mean? That's it. But you know, as we get to these things, and you only want it to be there, so now you're adding more steps to your process, right? Now you're like, all right, I hope I can get that off. Oh, that doesn't get it all the way off. So now I'm trying to get this out this way and do something else. And then next thing you know, you're like, well, let me add another line. So now you're just adding more than what you intended to do. So all we're trying to get you to do is to think about what it is you're going to put on the wall. So, any other questions to that? Hit me. Okay. For me, typically, go basic. Don't try to do anything else that you can't do. In order for you to be able to, voila. In order for you to be able to bust this Futura block style letter, I have to know how to do that letter. I cannot attempt to go, oh man, we're gonna go this way and we're gonna go that way and we're gonna have this arrow go like, bro, what are you doing? I can't even see what you're doing. So like, hey, I keep it at the basics a lot of times. Look what I'm doing. I'm not doing all the extras. Not probably because I can't do all the extras. I tend to favor that style better. Now, there's going to be other guys out there. I think we talked about artists from the past to help us that built a foundation. The Da Vinci's and the Leonardo's and whatever, all these people. So I think if you're going to go into a graffiti style and try to learn that style, you're going to have to look at some of the greats from the graffiti, because there is greats. Sometimes it's not typically who started it, but you know, who's really talking about the guy who started how to do this and that. Some guys, because they achieved this other level and somebody's like, whoa, I want to do that style. But they didn't start it. They were just there decorating what somebody else created. So, and it's like I'm a West Coast guy, so I say the East Coast created it, the West Coast decorated it. I tend to like Old English letters. I tend to like font. I mean, meet me at the board with some cursive, let's go. You know what I mean? I'm definitely there for it. And sometimes just like, I'm like pretty much in between the lines. I'm not all over the place. It's legible. So knowing those letters that you want to use, your name is Bozo, whatever it is. You want to be able to do a basic B, a basic O. You got two O's. Now that's even harder because do you want them to look the same or do you want them to both have style? So now you got to come up with style for both of them. Then you chose a word that has a Z in it. Z is not like the most favorable letter, but when you get to rock a Z, you have to blow it out of the park because you're competing against a slim few who use the letter Z in their name. Now, I don't have a Z in my name. I have an S. Another thing is like, I could exaggerate this. This is what we do in graffiti. I can add an E, still says the same word. I could add an H, still says the same word. I could add, well, I can't add no more, but there's things that you can do. So basically on the letter structure and style, on the letter structure and style, I would definitely start off using basic style. Once you're able to have that letter down, all right, let's go for it. I mean, there's typical things. Oh, you want to know something? I'll tell you guys. Rules. You're adding arrows and you're adding these things to your letters, right? Say you're coming off this way. You add an arrow. Whatever, right? That's going in the middle of nowhere. Looks dumb. It has to be cohesive to your letters. Part of that style, though, is say you come up and come back down. Then you cut this way to follow that. Now it's starting to look a little bit more cohesive. What I'm noticing a lot in the style today versus the style of yesterday, our rule of thumb was over, under, over, under. If I put a line over this, it's got to go under that. Every time it passes through, so it's almost weaving through the letters. Now I'm seeing it where it's typically over everything. Whatever it is that they're doing. And graffiti started off with that style, that's what it was. This guy wrote his name. And then he started to add 3D. And so forth and so forth. And these guys just started to expand and expand and expand, bigger on the wall. So, but these guys didn't do any wild style until they knew how to do this letter. So that's probably the most important thing that you guys could learn is to be able to get your name and write it down the way, basic format. Now, like I did say, bring your black book because this is what I didn't enter my thing. I should have. I'm sitting at home writing on envelopes. Envelopes are good size, top to bottoms. You're doing top to bottoms. You guys are gonna come out. Sometimes you see us doing these schools and we're doing the namesakes. This is our format. This is my line right here. This is my tape. I'm using that format. So I'm practicing at that format. Same thing. Now these are coming off the bottom, but look what happens when I go like that. I don't care about this because I draw them all day long. Now, top line, bottom line, it's the same thing over and over and over. That's why I say I encourage you guys to have your black book. You don't have to be drawing letters. You could be drawing a sun. You could be drawing a moon. You could be drawing waterfalls. You could be drawing, I mean, whatever we did over there, like just whatever it is, just practice, 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 practice. I'll be sitting in the car waiting for my daughter to get out of school or something. I pull out my black book or my iPad and I'm drawing. You want to start to learn, like, am I the best at shadowing and light source? No, I'm not. So what do? I draw hands. I draw different things. So it's always practice, 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 practice makes perfect. Now, again, this was just a piece process showing us, you know, how the beginning to the end and using the wall to your utilization. Is there any more questions? All right. Does anybody want to go over my stuff and try? I mean, if you want, it's not a big deal. I'm sorry I didn't keep moving forward on the. Yeah, no, I see what happened. Continue. No, what happened is, let me get this. For your keyboard, shift. Okay. Your keyboard cannot be identified. How about we go skip? PowerPoint. Teach me how to PowerPoint, my friend. I think because that screen came up. There we go. I got you right here. I got you right here. Yeah, it's right. Even right here. So, options: solid fills, ombres, blend fills, bucket fills, empty space. This is kind of what I was talking about. Highlighting was the empty space. Using the 3D to create. Using the empty space to create that 3D with just a line. This guy. This is where you use the most paint usually. This guy is an OG writer, man. Scene. He's all over the place. A lot of guys probably got their style from this guy. So if you guys don't know who it is, I believe so. He's the one that did that. But he was an East Coaster. So he was an East Coaster, came out to the West Coast. He did something that was like, all right, and they never messed with it because he was respected. He was respected, and another thing is that people might think this is graffiti as like some vandalizing, which it probably is, but in its own way, it's an art form, man. Like, if it wasn't, it wouldn't be as big as it is. It wouldn't be where it's at today. Because now we can't drive down Main Street without seeing any graffiti. Now we can't drive down Charleston. We can't drive down Fremont. You can't go into these alleys and just see it everywhere. I'm 38, man. 20 years ago, 18 years old, you would have been in handcuffs and in the back of somebody's cop car on the way to the county, which would have been right down the street. But let's see. Okay, cutbacks will help you straighten them lines and edges. I did cut back with the black just to kind of clean up, even though I was already using the black, but I used the black just to clean it up a little bit. And I did it all on a smaller scale just to breeze through this stuff. Finish the line. Yeah, it's most definitely sketching on the wall. Like when you're trying to get this nice line in one shot, you can't just go. It's not gonna work. Follow through with it. And also remember how I said I brought this chair here, I brought the ladder here. Get in that position where you need to be at so that you can do that. I've been doing it a long time, so I'm almost there. A couple more years, I would have got it. It would have been 100. No, well, discussion and questions. I think I answered a couple questions. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me.
What does it take to be like super confident in your skills as a graffiti artist?
You got to tattoo your side of your face. No, I just pull out your pen and pad. Again, it's gonna be that repetition. It's gonna be in that black book. It's gonna be, I'm not trying to suggest just always draw on your black book. Draw on your black book, or whatever you want to call it. You want to draw on an envelope. I see a lot of the guys, they go and they're making these boards right here. They're putting them in their backyard and they're drawing and they're using the cans. That's gonna help with confidence. Another thing is like drawing is more like this. Spray paint could be more this versus me just going like this for a circle. So, you're going to have to start to understand that, and you're going to have to start to build that. Now, it might depend on what you're doing, though. That rule might not always apply. Again, these rules are meant to be broken. But just repetition, I think, will help build the most confidence overall. These famous artists, I think they have a place this big full of artwork that nobody's ever even seen. You know what I mean? Because they're just in there. Like nobody's seen half the drawings I got in this book right here. You know what I mean? Like nobody's seen it because I'm just in there. Don't do that to me. But that's what I would say. Repetition. A repetition overall.
What do you take with you when you go out to do a graffiti piece?
Oh, okay. It depends. If we have the luxury of Graffiti Park gives us a luxury to have all these options in cans. And that's kind of what so I probably missed that part of how I was trying to explain that, was I have all of these green cans, all of them. Some of these guys will go over and they'll go, that one's not full, let me look for the full one. Try to use them all, again. But if I was gonna go out and do a graffiti piece, I mean, typically I would go like 2 and 2 plus a third color. So I mean, 2 whites, 2 blacks, and then a burner color, or blast, or whatever, which would be this color here. So I would go with my green, my white, and that one. 2, you know what I mean? I feel like my 3D takes up more paint than my filling does. So if you only got 5 cans and you got 3 of one color, that 3 of that one color is gonna be your outline, so you can get it nice and clean. You can do your 3D nice and solid. And then again, you might just ghost that filling with that one can. You might just and get it done. But now that's where you have to understand. If I have 3 of one can and 1 of another color, I'm not gonna use the one color that I have to try to outline everything. I'm gonna have to use the 3 colors that I have. The one color with 3 cans. So I'll outline that, do all that, because ultimately I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna cut that up with that letter and with that color again anyways. So that'll work. So whatever you're gonna bring to the yard, to the spot, you know, I wanna make sure I have all my tips on there. Have your tips on there. I think more tips, the better. I know some guys, they got one in the mouth and they're just, I'm just being serious. That's what they do. So, and they switch them out. They're always switching them out. That's how your tips get clogged. That's how you're like, shit, hey bro, can I borrow your white? And your homie's like, not till I'm done. But it's true, that's what happens. So stock yourself up on these tips. When you go and buy some cans, don't be like, I'm gonna bid 1 tip and 1 tip and that's gonna work. No, man. Sometimes you want this fat snowball tip so you can get this flare and you put it on the can and it's not working right. What am I gonna do? Keep shaking it, keep pounding it on the ground. No, I'm gonna just throw that one away and I'm gonna pull out another tip and put a new one on there. So have those things with you. I mean, you're not gonna necessarily wanna go to catch a spot with that much, but you will wanna go and have some stuff with you so that you're not caught with your pants down, so to speak. Anything else? No? Well, thank you guys so much, man.